Welcome to the show, after the show, what happens right after the show. Cheers. So, Monsters, Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they fear humans?
I know, you brought that question to me, and I was like, well, that's what, do you have much of a video there, Ben? I mean, they are afraid of them because, oh, it's a good video.
Oh, hey, we haven't talked about one yet.
Yeah. Huh.
No. So this popped up because I had several people tweeting me this picture of Water Noose, and it was suggesting that the whole reason that they feared humans so much and the reason that he perpetuated this lie is because maybe, possibly as a child, he had his heart broken by when he was a young scarer, he had a child break his heart, and so he is protecting his fellow monsters from children, but not from danger, but their emotions.
I don't think that's right.
I was not a huge fan of this concept. I mean, it didn't seem, for one, it wasn't sourced in anything at all.
Also, he's trying to kidnap children.
Right. He's trying to kidnap children.
And two, the CDA is also in on this lie.
Right.
So
that was the thing, and that was like the weird, like, inconsistency about this movie is like they make such a big deal about it, but then you see like the people who were making such a big deal about it very cavalier.
Yeah,
like with Boo later in the movie.
Yeah, like they are away, like they see Sully holding Boo and they're all just like, whatever.
No big. So like watching it back through though, like I kept noticing a couple of scenes like where you'd see Sully running down the hall and Water Noose is chasing him, and like clearly Sully is like holding the child, so clearly like everything is okay, but I don't feel like the logical progression of someone who believed their entire life that touching children was dangerous would be like, oh, that guy did it, I guess it's cool now. Like, I don't think that's the jump you go to.
Right. Like Water Noose already knows.
Right.
That children aren't dangerous.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just like, but it's it is a weird question because it's like, it seems like their whole society is just built on this like one lie. Like they go to school to like learn how to avoid children. They're like majors. They're seen as heroes, like worshipped. You know, it's like, and it's all based on this thing that just isn't true.
Yeah, it's a very, very weird thing. So it was fun digging through it today.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like I'm pretty satisfied with our answer. Like when we realized the closeness and vicinity to like when monsters, again, like the timeline thing is weird and time traveling is very weird, but like when we realized that the plague happened in the 1300s, and that's approximately the same time that Monsters U was established.
Yeah.
Like you would assume or possibly assume that part of that process is already kind of teaching scaring in some capacities. So.
Yeah. Honestly, like we didn't include all of it in the video because it started to be like, well, look at all the math we did.
Right, we were like those people with like all the red strings drawn all across the board.
I feel like we would have started to sound like a little bit crazy and like you're like really reaching and like I don't know. But like we have this like entire timeline broken down of like, okay, the monsters, like during Monsters Inc., the human world must be in this because of these Easter eggs, and they must have started being monsters during this year because that's when Wally gets back, and like that would have been this, and that means when was Monsters U? Yeah, like we have this whole confusing but legit timeline that like really pointed to, yep, it does work out about that, like, oh, they founded Monsters University, and then about 75 years later is when they would have discovered time travel, and it's like, you know what, if you start high-level education and 75 years later you have time travel, that's pretty good.
You're getting
college is working. Yeah.
And so that's the other thing too, is that like you think of it almost, because I guess in my mind I kept thinking of it almost as if like the monsters would have started from like not, like that, like as if they would have started with no technology. But that's not actually the case. Like you were talking about like hyper advanced technology, at least with whatever the Axiom had on board.
Right.
And bringing that into the forefront of like their new reality.
Right. Maybe they didn't invent the technology, but they had it to work from to start.
So talk a little bit about the mans and the mons. Like, would you feel comfortable enough discussing that?
Sure. So I even just typed in mans and mons on like Google, and like nothing even pops up. So you have to have the Monsters Incorporated DVD, and there's a special feature there that talks about how the monsters came to be. And basically there was like a tribe of mans and a tribe of mons. Both were humans, and the mans like drove the mons out. So in the Pixar theory timeline, this would be after the Axiom had come back, and then the Mans and Mons are just two different tribes of people, like.
Right, so you could imagine
After-
probably
yeah.
what happened was, like, you know, you return to Earth, and that's the thing even about WALL-E, is they return to Earth, like, because there is a plant.
Right.
Like, do you know how much, like, vegetation on Earth it requires to, like, process carbon dioxide?
Right.
Like, a lot.
Yeah. So, like, it looks all happy during the end credits of WALL-E, but it's like, reality is that this is going to be really hard.
Right.
And
It's probably a very dangerous
tensions,
environment.
yeah, it's going to be dangerous. And so the Mons get, like, run off onto some island where they start eating some fruit, and the fruit then starts changing, like, their physical appearance into the kinds of animals that used to eat the fruit, which is
weird way to go
reverse
after it,
logic.
yeah.
I don't know what works. To me, what it means is the radiation left on the planet that is now part of the fruit is what's actually causing them to change.
Right. So that's
Yeah.
like where legend meets fact.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's like
Something
a rain
like
dance,
that.
you know, like
Sure.
a rain dance isn't what brings rain. It's
Yeah, you know what? If you dance long enough, it'll rain.
it'll rain. There you go. No, so this was super cool, super different. I felt like this was I wouldn't want to compare us to film theory at all, but this almost felt like a situation where we were taking more of like a most factual basis and trying to like lean it instead of using just the sole contents of a film.
Yeah. Well, then, like, I liked the idea, too. We sort of arrived at, like, the plague, and it's like, oh, you say, if the monsters are treating humans like plague carriers, it's like, Pixar just happens to have a movie with humans and actual plague carriers.
Right.
It's all connected.
It all
it's just
fits
like
together.
It's all credence for the Pixar theory. It's all together.
We got it.
We got you, Pixar.
They so do this stuff on purpose.
They so do.
It's gonna be great.
Yep.
There needs to be like a Pixar studies class.
There should be. We should teach that.
We should. We
Yeah.
should teach that. Let's
Pixar
do it.
Studies.
Enroll now. Okay. Show off the show.
Show the show. Bye.